like to invite one of our graduate award recipients, Dietrich Balsbaugh, to come forward and give the Valedictory Address, the address of leave-taking.
Mr. Balsbaugh, Dr. Naughton, Deacon Mahalik, members of the faculty and staff, parents, friends, benefactors, and guests. On behalf of the class of 2016, I would like to say thank you for being here today. This ceremony marks the end of all we have accomplished as a class over the past 6 years together. But none of these accomplishments would be possible without the great sacrifices that those of you in the room today have made for us. I'd like especially to thank our parents. I know that what we see is probably only the tip of the iceberg, but even at that, we've seen you drive us countless miles to and from school, serve in the concession stand all winter long, and sign our tests when we suddenly remembered that they needed signing just as we walked out the door. You were even there when we arrived at midnight to our spring formal after party, standing ready to serve us. For all these things, we thank you. But most of all today, I want to thank you for entrusting us to each other. You allowed us to grow and learn together, to challenge each other honestly, to laugh together during the joyous times, and cry together in the times of defeat. Speaking for myself, I cannot imagine where I would be without you all sharing your lives and your families with me. I thank you with all my heart. Today is, of course, the moment that the world tells us to work toward. This is the moment that we have all heard about, and now we are here. The world has its own narrative about this day. The world says, in its grand graduation speech to the thousands of young men and women who stand in our shoes, today you stand at a great crossroads in your lives. Each of you has worked hard to reach this point. Here you stand together, perhaps for the last time, before going your separate ways. Life will be tough. So on your own path through life, you must be tougher. You must rely on yourself. That is how you will make your way out there in the real world. Now go out there and take it for your own. Yes, it is true that after today we will go off to very different places. Some of us will be staying in Minnesota, others going to Wyoming, Michigan, Texas, and some will even be leaving the country. And after today, it probably will feel like we have entered a different world, that so-called real world. It is also true that we do not really know what will become of each other. In light of this uncertainty, the world too often points us back to ourselves and tells us that on our own we can face whatever challenges may come. But we've always heard a different story at Trinity. During Christmas break of my junior year, I read Cormac McCarthy's novel, The Road. Set in a post-apocalyptic America, it tells the story of a father and a son struggling to cross the now desolate wasteland of what was once a great civilization. They're following a cracked and gray highway through the dismal ashen landscape, trying only to survive long enough to reach the Atlantic coast, the sea, and perhaps find a place to call home again. It was quite the Christmas book. The Road is a hard novel, but for me it has also become one of the most foundational books I have read. Despite all of the terror and brutality of the world that these two live in, the father still attempts to protect and nurture his son. He tries to teach his son what it means to be good, to be upright, and to be true in a world where there seems to be no truth, beauty, or goodness left. And he tells his son stories of what the world was once like, with trout gliding through the rivers, and music playing, and hot chocolate to drink. At one point, the father and the son speak about the future. And the father begins by telling his son, "You have to carry the fire." The son replies, I don't know how to." "Yes, you do." "Is it real? The fire?" "Yes, it is." "Where is it?" "I don't know where it is." "Yes, you do. It's inside you. It was always there. I can see it. Now, we are not living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. We have been blessed with good friends and families, good houses, and a good school. For all we can see, we will continue to experience a life of material comfort and relative ease. Our lives and futures, as far as we can see, look nothing like the life that this boy and his father are living. But this book, and especially the short dialogue between a loving father and his frightened son, has shaped the way I think about what it actually means to be sitting here today, preparing to graduate, preparing to carry the fire. Again, the world we go out to from here is not literally an apocalyptic wasteland, but there is such a thing as a wasteland of the soul. Many out there seem to live out their lives according to very different values than those we have learned here. Deceptive, cutthroat, individualistic, and increasingly without any clear direction. Much of the world seems to be moving to a very different rhythm than that of truth, beauty, and goodness. It seems that some, like the characters that the father and son encounter in the road, may have even forgotten what it means to be human. But here at Trinity, we learned early on that there really is a fire, and that no matter how faintly it may be burning, the fire is real. Shane carried the fire. Hazel carried the fire. Even timid Fiver carried the fire. And the things we have learned during our time at Trinity have taught us what it means for each and every one of us to carry the fire. As we grew, we learned that the fire must also be protected and nourished if it is to be kept alive. And it takes great courage to help protect it. As Bigwig says in Watership Down, "My chief rabbit has told me to stay and defend this run, and until he says otherwise, I shall stay here." Abraham Lincoln protected and nourished the fire through the time that threatened to tear our country apart. John and Elizabeth Proctor sacrificed their love for each other, their family, and even their own future in order to protect the fire of honor and integrity. "I have 3 children," Proctor cries. "How may I teach them to walk like men in the world, and I sold my friends?" And we had to learn, too, that there are always those who seek to destroy the fire. Robespierre, Wick Cutter, Mordred. But in the face of this war between those who would protect the fire and those who would seek to destroy it, there's one lesson yet to be learned. As the stage manager in Thornton Wilder's Our Town says, we all know that something is eternal. And it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and it ain't earth, and it ain't even the stars. Everybody knows in their bones that something is eternal, and that something has to do with human beings. That is the final lesson, that the fire is eternal and cannot be put out. That not even the darkness that came into the world when we were cast out of the garden could destroy that fire. Rather, the light shines in the darkness, as John says, and the darkness has not overcome it. The lingering mystery, though, is that even though the fire is eternal, it still must be carried straight on. That is why that father's charge to his young, frightened son has been so important for me, and so why it is so important for the world. The world tells us that after today we are splitting up, that we are at our crossroads. But really, there are no crossroads. There is one road. We are all traveling it together, and we always will be. Not only all of us gathered together today, but also the people we only bump into or travel with for a short while. The minor characters like Tom Bombadil, Eumaeus the swineherd, Sam Taylor, Martin Blythe, Boo Radley, the businessmen, the coffee shop owners, the homeless, the farmers. All of us are together on the same road. And those who have come before us were also walking the same road. Allow me one more quote from Cormac McCarthy. This from No Country for Old Men, also about a father. I had 2 dreams about him after he died. I don't remember the first one all that well, but it was about meeting him in town somewhere. And he gave me some money. I think I lost it. But the second one, it was like we was both back in older times. And I was on horseback going through the mountains of a night. Going through this pass in the mountains. It was cold and there was snow on the ground. And he rode past me and kept on going. Never said nothing, he just rode on past. And he had this blanket wrapped around him and he had his head down. And when he rode past, I seen he was carrying fire and a horn the way people used to do. And I could see the horn from the light inside of it, about the color of the moon. And in the dream I knew that he was going on ahead, and that he was fixing to make a fire somewhere out there in all that dark and all that cold. And I knew that whenever I got there, he would be there. And then I woke up. We are forever blessed by the many who have gone before us. Our teachers, creative, brilliant, and patient, have guided us through this education. Our fathers, strong, protective, and wise, have helped us navigate our path. Our mothers, tireless, loving, and strong in the way only mothers can be, have given us a world we can love and provided us with a place that we can call home, a place filled with comfort and hot chocolate. Now it is our turn, and there is only one choice that each of us need to make as we walk down this one road together. Will we carry the fire? Will we protect it? Will we give this fire to those who have none? Will we take it out in this world of darkness and sickness and build a beacon? As Christ commanded his disciples, so he commands us. As you go, proclaim this message. The kingdom of heaven has come near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have leprosy, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. I will close with the words of one small carrier of fire that we encountered early on in our own journey at Trinity, Bilbo Baggins. The road goes ever, ever on, under cloud and under star, yet feet that wandering have gone, turn at last to home and far. Eyes that fire and sword have seen, and horror in the halls of stone, look at last on meadows green, and trees and hills they long have known. Thank you.